By now, you should have written all your primary user and stakeholder questions, you should have interviewed them, and from that you should have got a clear list of primary user and stakeholder wants and needs. The next step that we have to undertake is to analyse some existing products to find out what already exists and what we're going to need to put into our product to make it new, exciting and fit for purpose and the purposes that our primary user wants. So to do this, we're going to do a product analysis on a few products. Now, a product analysis is a piece of research that involves evaluating similar products to the one that is going to be designed and made. And we need this because it's required to give us an idea of what similar products already exist. It's going to help us create designs for our own product because we're going to know what not to do and the things that do work and that we should be including in our product. So on the screen here, you can see a couple of different products. One of them is a storage case for smaller amounts of art materials, and the second is a storage box with trays that open and display themselves so we can access them all. If you recall, my context is smarter living and the storage of art materials, which can be a problem for lots of at-home and travelling artists. So when you look at both these products, you need to be thinking about the primary user. You need to be thinking about the fact that we're doing this for travelling artists and for people at home that maybe need a little bit more space. So what are the strengths and weaknesses of the two art storage methods above? For a proper product analysis, we have to look at both sides of the argument. Now, you can see on here, I have done a list of strengths for each of the products, but I have done them in completely different ways. On the left, you can see that I have formed full sentences. I've added reasons for the strengths, so things like reasonably slimline design and comfortable handle, which means it could be easily taken when traveling. Comes with all the necessary storage pots and tools, so nothing more will be needed to be purchased. And on the right, you can see I have gone for some bullet points. So sturdy construction, made from plastic, so waterproof, hard shell to protect. So which of the two styles of evaluation do you think that you should be using in your product analysis? I should say by now the answer should be fairly obvious that it is of course the one on the left. When we are doing a product analysis, we need to understand the reasons why we are saying the things we are saying, why we are analysing it in the way we are, and so that it gives us a little bit more in-depth research. This is particularly the case if you are wanting to aim for a mid to high grade. So make sure you use those full sentences, do not use bullet points, and make sure the evaluation that you're doing has a level of analysis in. So give me a reason and then give me why it's a reason. So if it's a positive, give me a positive and why that is a positive. The same applies for the second one. So we are always going to find weaknesses in products, and the products that you are finding should absolutely have weaknesses in them. Don't analyse products that are absolutely perfect in every way, because all that is doing is proving that you don't need the product for the design brief you've chosen. So make sure you use products that have some negatives in them and some improvements that you can make. Now, I'm not going to spend time asking you which of these you should do, because you know by now we do not do the bullet points, we do the weaknesses. So the fabric carry pouch, looking at that, aesthetically it's a little bit boring, no other colour options, which may mean artists want to hide it. Non-recyclable plastic is used in great quantities, which means that it would not be sustainable. The one that I have gone round in red, I've gone round to give you just a little idea of what you will get if you bullet point your evaluations. You will not get past mark band 2, which means that you probably will not get yourself over level 4 if you do the style of analysis shown in the red box here. There isn't enough information, it's not in depth, and it doesn't give us enough kind of reasons behind why this is an improvement and why this is a weakness. So to do our analysis, we are going to use a tool called Access FM. Now, Access FM is an acronym that starts us off with the ideas of some of the areas we can look at when we're analysing. And those are aesthetics, so the way things look, the customer, the cost, the ergonomics, which is how comfortable and easy to use something is, sustainability, safety, function, and material. And we use this tool to make us think about our products in a critical and analytical way. We need to think about each aspect and use the aspect to think about the questions to ask ourselves. Now, I'm not going to ask you to jump right in and immediately know what questions you need to ask. But over the next couple of pages on these train tickets, there are a series of questions that you can ask yourself to give yourself a really well-rounded product analysis. Now, there are 8 areas that you will need to analyse, and those are all the titles from Access FM. So aesthetics, cost, customer, ergonomics, and then of course sustainability, safety, function, and materials and manufacturing. And on these train tickets, you are going to be able to look at them and just ask yourself the questions that are underneath each one to fill out and find out the improvements and the weaknesses of the product that you are looking at. So things like describing what the product looks like. Now, you will have photos and videos, but it's always really helpful to give kind of like a written description relating to your primary user. How much does the product cost, and do you think it's worth the cost that's being given to it? Who is it meant for? How big is the product? Is it comfortable to use? Is it safe for your primary user to use? Is it going to have an impact on the environment? What does it do? That's a really important one, because sometimes when we look at a product, we cannot understand what it does just from a picture. However, if you have got a video, that will go some way to helping you describe that. And looking at the materials, what is it made of? Do you think it was easy to manufacture? For those of you aiming for the higher mark bands, you can also take a product and look at the product's life cycle. And this is where we look at it from where the materials were taken out of the ground all the way through to where it's used, gets recycled, transported, etc., and how that has an impact on the environment. So this is just an example of a really high level product analysis. You can see that there are videos for each of the products, along with photos of it in use, of it opening, closing, showing how it works. But there is also a wide range of analysis covering each of the areas, and also looking at how it compares to your product and making sure the next steps are filled in. If you want to know in more detail how to put this together, please watch my video titled How to Put Together Your Product Analysis. So, to aim yourself for the top mark band, you are going to need to analyse 3 to 4 products, and you are going to need to analyse these well. These products do need to be primary sources, which means that you have held them, you can see them, and you can use them to analyse them. I would advise not just going into a shop and picking up something and taking a picture of it in a box. If you can open it and use it in the shop, then you can maybe have a look at doing it that way, but you cannot just have one picture of it where you can't actually use it. And it is really important that you try and link needs analysis to your design brief. So have a look at what it is that you have are looking into, and make sure the products link back to those. Look at the factors that your user told you that you want to see from your primary user needs table. So if they said it's portable, look at that, at the size of it and how tough it is. The aim is to try and show that there's a gap in the market for your product, and make sure that GIFs and photos of you using the product are in there, because it will show that you fully interacted with it and you completely understand it. Now, the last page is just a series of questions where you can pause on this page and go through some more questions. Now, I know I gave you some earlier, but there's just a few more here if you're a little bit stuck and some of the ones on the train tickets don't apply to you. So feel free to pause this page, have a look through and use the questions to help you with your product analysis.